I'm delighted to welcome Dr. Anak Agung Gede Satya Utama from the Universitas Erlangga, Indonesia. Dr. Agung is a lecturer, researcher, and consultant in the fields of accounting and information systems. He has been a permanent lecturer in the Department of Accounting at the Faculty of Economics and Business, Universitas Erlangga, since 2005. Dr. Agung obtained his master's degree in accounting from Universitas Erlangga in 2008 and completed his doctoral studies in accounting science at Universitas Erlangga in 2023. His research focuses on accounting information systems, qualitative methods, sustainability, big data, and community development. He is an expert in qualitative data analysis using NVivo software, actively participating as a speaker and moderator in seminars, workshops, and conferences at the national and international levels. Throughout his career, he has authored more than 90 publications in reputable international journals and accredited national journals, and authored more than 9 books. He has achieved recognition 4 times as the best paper and best presenter at international and national conferences. Certified as a qualitative researcher and an international reviewer, he serves as a reviewer for Scopus Index journals ranging from Q1 to Q4, and numerous international and national journals, as well as a regular reviewer for various international conferences. Dr. Agung also serves as an editor for various international and national journals. In 2020, he chaired the organizing committee for 2 international webinars. He's a member of several international associations, including the Association for Information Systems, AIS, the Qualitative Research Consultants Association, QRCA, and the Asian Qualitative Research Association, AQRA, and also the British Academy of Management, BAM, and the Indonesian Qualitative Research Association, EAFA and AFAANZ, Chartered Accountant, SEARA, and many more. He actively participates in various big data and sustainability summer schools at various universities worldwide, including Pretoria University in South Africa. And currently, he is actively involved in several research projects, collaborating with overseas researchers, supervising international students, publishing books, and serving as a speaker. Welcome, Dr. Agung. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Sandep. Hello, how are you?
Terima kasih. Thank you very well, Doctor.
Okay. So, good morning, everyone. My name's Anak Agung Gede Satya Utama. You can call me Agung. I'm from Universitas Erlangga, Indonesia. And it's a great honor to be invited as keynote speakers, for this International Conference 2025. Bali ICPM, International Conference on Project Management. So for this session today, I will discuss how nethnography as a qualitative research method. This is the new popular research methodology, and the social media data are transforming global management research, especially in the context of digital culture, project management, and cross-border collaboration. Let me share my slide. Okay, this is the topic, nethnography and the social media data in the global management research. So why this topic matters today? Because when we talk about the consumers, we talk about the employees in some of the organization or the company, and also the stakeholders, most of their behaviors, reaction, and cultural expression now happen online. Even they record the transaction into the paper, physically, and they also submitted their report into the online. So as we know that currently social media has become the largest cultural data source in human history, and the traditional surveys, or interviews are no longer sufficient to capture fast-moving narratives in social media. So these methods, the ethnography research methods, allow us to combine the culture, the strategy, and digital behaviors, giving us, especially for the company, for example, the managers, a deep understanding of the global audience in real time. So the cultural, when we talk about the cultural intelligence in global management, it can be related with what we talk today, the ethnography. In global management, it's no longer just about understanding face-to-face interactions, but also understanding the digital cultures, how the people, how the society express their emotion, they negotiate their identity and response to leadership online. So for the strategy today, is heavily shaped by online narratives, by digital communities and viral public opinions. And I think an ethnography can become a strategic, as a cultural radar, that enables project manager to detect issues, the specific issues and response effectively. So, what is ethnography? Ethnography, the inventor is Robert Kozinet. Robert Kozinet. So I learned about ethnography during COVID. During COVID, I attend his laboratorium project. So after I finish the laboratorium project with him, I try to research with ethnography methodology. So ethnography is a qualitative research methods. The ethnography come from net, is internet, and ethnography, but in this method we design especially for online context. So we studies online communities, including the members interaction, the members shared communication, how they post something topic, and the other members give a like, give a comments, or post some supported like a document, like document or image, and anything. So this method is this method studies online, social media conversation and also digital cultures. And based on Kozinet, in his book 2015 and 2020, the ethnography focused on how people interact online. The people in this concept is members from the community online, and how they communicate or build meaning taken from what they post, what they give a comment in the interaction in the social media, and also how the digital environment shape the behaviors. And for today, I think this research method, is very powerful, very powerful to understanding global, especially in the stakeholders dynamics. So why ethnography in the project and global management? I think is related with the theme of our international conference. So in project management, we talk about the large number. We talk about the multinational project. We talk about the digital conversation that can influence, the stakeholder trust, organizational legitimacy, the crisis, the communication, the resistance to change, yeah, especially relate with the adoption of digital transformation, yeah, digital technology, and also the sustainability and also cross-border issues or cross-border conflicts. For example, yeah, I can give the example in online resistance to infrastructure project like ESG, yeah, like ESG policies that spread faster than traditional consultation channels. And also ethnography can help us, especially manager in the context of project and global management to anticipate uh, to anticipate this reaction related that issues coming forward to the project and design better engagement the strategy. Yeah. So, what is social media data in the qualitative data? I put big qualitative data because when we talk about the data, we know that data can be defined into two, the structured data and the unstructured data. For example, the structured data is a financial statement that we already know. Yeah, all is know about financial statement, and the unstructured data is, for example, the social media data, for example, the website. Yeah, taken from my first article from the social media data exploration of themes, based on Twitter. So we know that the Twitter can be as our source of data. Yeah, can be source of social media data. And the other platforms, the other platform as research fields, can be Instagram, to identity and branding, from TikTok, currently TikTok is very, very powerful to as a source of the data, From the TikTok, we can take the emotional storytelling from the person, from the community, and also from the YouTube, we can take or we can analyze the public discourse in YouTube, and also in X, Twitter, like I've done before with the policy and crisis reaction, and the other platform, So each platform, each platform give researchers different cultural signals, the cultural signals that complement each other. So when someone said, can we use only one platform? It depends on your research question. Back to your research question. What is your research question? So we can focus only what we give the question, for our research. Okay. So in ethnography, we also analyze the comments. The comment is the most activity analysis in ethnography. When we collect 1,000, more than 1,000, sometimes I got 1 million, 1 million digital comment. We're not only looking at the text, So we are analyzing the language, the tones, the emotions and the sentiment, We can divide it. The community posts some comments, so we analyze that the comment is it positive sentiment, negative sentiment, or is just moderate, or neutral sentiments. And also we analyze the symbols, using the hashtag, made our research focus, and also we look at the cultural value and the power of the relation of their communication, in the community online. So this is the ethnography research process, research procedures, All of these research procedure must be stated in your research report, in your research, yeah, in ethnography, yeah. And the first stages in the ethnography process is we identify, yeah, we already define what our research focus, yeah. The research focus, our problems, yeah, we describe our problem, we identify, we declare about research questions, and also after we know about the question, yeah, we select the community online, yeah, which one is the community online, yeah, we try to enter, yeah, we try to join, yeah, into the community and online, because when we do an ethnography, yeah, we as an observer, yeah, we can be active observer or passive observer, or Kosinet said lurking, yeah, the lurking activities. And also after we enter the community online, we collect the data. Yeah, what the data given, yeah, prepared in the community online, we all collected, even the documents, yeah, voice, the audio, and also the text, yeah. And the next stages, this is the very important, the very essential process. Yeah, we do coding. Yeah, we do coding and thematic analysis. Yeah, it depends on your question. If your question try to look what the community or society sentiment about that posting, so the analyze can be sentiment analysis. But when we talk about the what they talk, yeah, what they talk, so the analysis can be thematic, can be content analysis, yeah, with some coding process. And also the final stage, we can interpret, yeah, the subjective or researcher reflexivity, yeah, about what they look the data, yeah, made an interpretation and writing the report, yeah. So after that, we know about the contribution of our research. Is it theoretical contribution? Is it practical contribution or policy contribution? Yeah. And in ethnography, there are a lot of ethics. Yeah, there are a lot of ethics. Even the others research methodology that we use, yeah, quantitative or qualitative, it must be concerned about the ethics. Yeah, so especially in ethnography, we have some digital ethics in ethnography. Yeah, if you want to see what I'm done with this project of ethnography, you can check my new paper, yeah, published in the Q1. Yeah, this is my with my students, yeah, with my doctorate students. We talk about the backpacker umroh, yeah, backpacker umrah and ethnography study. So the data taken from the interaction from the members in WhatsApp group, yeah, and also in the Facebook, yeah. So there's a lot of ethical concern. Yeah, we need to hide the numbers of accounts, yeah, hide the names of their account posts, and when some communicate provided images, yeah, so we made blur image, yeah, blur persons, yeah, especially for public figure, we don't need to blur the image, yeah. We made also the anonym, yeah, the anonym informants, yeah. We need consent inform, yeah, when required, yeah. There's no data manipulation, yeah. We screenshot, we capture the original what they communicate in their community online. And also we concern also about the academic integrity. Yeah, this is about the ethical principles in ethnography research methods. Okay, so for the analysis we can use the qualitative software, yeah, the qualitative software that I use, in this project is NVivo. The NVivo 15 is the new one, and also we can support with the artificial intelligence. So today all of the software in research method already support with artificial intelligence, but focus on we as a human. We as a human, we as a researcher, we know the knowledge. We have experience, so that's the power to interpret our data. So for the tools of the NVivo, we can use the nCapture. We can use the artificial intelligence assisted coding. We can use the sentiment, and also the thematic content analysis. And also, what about the strategic value, for global management when we use this method, this ethnography support? The organization can use the ethnography to detect as a first signal, as an early signal of reputation risk of their company, of their organizations, and also can map stakeholders and online the opinion groups, to diagnose the cultural conflict in multinational project. With the ethnography, the organization can measure the digital trust and also can understand the virtual leadership dynamics. So in global management, the cultures moves online. Yes, we know that moves online, and this ethnography is very powerful to help a leader to navigate, as a navigator, that complexity. Okay. Next, what is the contribution, the theory and practice, when we use this methodology? For a theoretical perspective, the ethnography redefine the way we understand what digital culture as a strategic environment and online identity as a form of organizational capital. And also the other one, in practical contribution, the ethnography can propose the policy, can design the policy and the communication strategy, and also cross-cultural leadership developments, stakeholders engagement models, and can give a management, risk management relate to the crisis management and also the ESG initiative. I think this can be bridged, the theory, the ethnography can be bridged the theory and the real world management challenge in online context. So what the futures of project management research can be proposed? We can support ethnography with artificial intelligence, but this is still pro and cons. And the cross-platform digital ethnography, we can say ethnography as a digital ethnography also. And the real-time culture intelligent dashboard, for project managers. And also we can use the hybrid method between qualitative and the big data. Because currently we not only talk about the traditional data, but also the big data. So what next? As our as researchers, our as academician and also the practitioners, we should explore, how digital communities influence the decision making, and for the leadership, for the leaders, how global leaderships develop trust online. And for the project management, how the project success depend on understanding digital narrative, digital text, digital context into the community online, and how artificial intelligence can ethically support our qualitative insight. Yeah, I think this is an existing frontier, yeah, where cultures, where technology and management meets. Okay, thank you very much for your attention, ladies and gentlemen. I hope today's session inspires you to use ethnography and the social media analytic in your own research, in your own experience and project management practices. I would be happy to discuss further during Q&A session. Thank you so much. Back to you, Sandep.
Thank you, Dr. Agung. Thank you. That was most interesting. We have a few questions for you, so let me dive straight into that. One of the first questions is, Dr. Agung, how can researchers maintain uh, positionality and reflexivity in ethnography when boundaries between the observer and participant become blurred in fluid digital environments?
Okay. How can researchers maintain personality and reflexivity in ethnography when boundaries between observer and participant become blurred in fluid digital environmentals? Yes, this is a good question, yeah, about the ethnography when we as a researcher, as observer, and also the participant, when we active, give a comment, give a posting, yeah. So we need to clear, participation, yeah, when the rules, yeah, in the online field as a theory, from the theory of COSINET, from the COSINET ethnography, the researcher can be observer, can be participant observer, insider or outsiders. So it depends. It depends on our research question. Back to your research question. We need to transparency in our uh, report. In our report, what is our moment transition, from the active participant, for example, from the active participant to the lurking, to the passive, passive participant. This is to complete our quality of the qualitative research. We call it transparency, credibility and trustworthiness. So the audience, the readers, believe, that this data is quality. This data is quality. So transparency must be conducted in our reports, and also the ethical and the informed concerns. The informed concern. We look the data depends on the situational, how the data can be negotiated, and we as qualitative researchers, because the qualitative researcher is relatively subjective, relatively subjectivity. So reflexivity, our reflexivity is very essential. Reflexivity, that's mean when we see the data, what the story, behind the data. That's the ethical reflexivity and informed consents. So blurred, I think the blurred boundaries are not a methodological weakness, weaknesses, but analytical opportunity for us as qualitative researchers. So we need to manage explicit, our position in this research, and then continue with our reflexivity, that the subjectivity concern, and also the ethical transparency. I think that's my comment for question from Laden Mering. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, Dr. Agung. The next question is about how can cultural intelligence help global leaders avoid bias in AI-driven decision making across diverse international teams?
Yeah, I think this the cultural intelligence. Yeah, when we talk about the cultural intelligence, yeah, uh, we know that the critical role, the critical play, yeah, from the cultural intelligence, yeah, as a global leader to recognize, to mitigate, and the correct issues, yeah, in AI driven, yeah, especially in decision making, yeah, especially also when the AI systems deployed across diverse international teams and cultural contract. Yeah, uh, it can be explained in several dimensions when we talk about the cultural intelligence. For example, when we hearing about the big data, yeah, whose data are represented, yeah, it it's our question when we see the data, yeah, whose data are represented or excluded, for example. And the other one, which culture behaviors are being labeled as high performance or risks or anything else, yeah. So this critical question that I mentioned before, to prevent blind trust in AI outputs. Yeah, because as we know that some of the research say that AI output can have a hallucination, yeah, hallucination for us, yeah, as a researcher also. So how to prevent, yeah, that's the critical point that I mentioned. And also the cultural intelligence can be what I mean to interpret, yeah, help us to interpret AI recommendation, what AI recommendation, and we compare with our local context, yeah, our local cultural context, yeah, because we knows everything about the view about the point of view, yeah, and the artificial intelligence, because the source of the material source of artificial intelligence is from many contexts. So we need to compare, yeah, we need to recognize the communication style, yeah, in AI, and we try to avoid unethical conduct using AI. That's the point. Thank you, Sandep.
Thank you very much, Dr. Agung. And if I may finish with one last question for you, and this looks at leadership and stakeholder dynamics. So the question is, Dr. Agung, what makes ethnography particularly relevant for understanding leadership and stakeholder dynamics today?
Okay, I think this is this is the interesting topic in geopolitical tension, yeah, with the global supply chains. If you want to conduct in ethnography, yeah, you can see for example, the distinguish between the political posturing and relational intents, yeah. So this the ethnography can align to interpretation of uncertainty about the geopolitical, and also yeah, with the ethnography we can also check in the online community that talk about the geopolitical, talking about the global supply chain, yeah. For example, we try to recognize the culturally driven difference in the conflict management, yeah, in the conflict management in the organization. And also we can see uh, the coordination, with the coordination mechanism to local culture and the institutional context, in the affecting of global supply chains, and there's a lot of many topics, in the geopolitical function, that relate with the cultural intelligence transform, with cross-border collaboration. The interdisciplinary research is very essential. For today. I think that's my comment, Sandep.
Thank you, Dr. Agung.